But I would like to just throw light to one of the items they earmarked. One, the correlation between pollution and the age of the car has at times gotten subjective argument. The issue is the mileage and the usage and the maintenance. And the servicing. You might find a car that was driven by you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think it was UBQ, a Land Cruiser in 2013. You might not have even driven it to acquire 7,000 kilometers in its mileage. So it does not necessarily mean that it has acquired that wear and tear to justify its level of carbon emission in order to pollute the environment. So the issue here is the minister, I remember very well, said, please help me find revenue. I'm going to help you find revenue. Do not come down to 13 years. Maintain the 15-year threshold as proposed so that you capture cars that are en route to Uganda, but also encourage the importation of cars since 2012 probably, because 2012 cars, 2011, when you read the standards of those cars, mainly most of them are carbon emission compliant. So it's up to you to either surrender this revenue and lose it, or work with us now.
Those are how many years? 15?
15 probably.
Yes.
So that we enhance your revenue basket. Therefore, as you are in a win-win and lose-lose, now we are giving you a blank check to hang yourself. Are you pro 15 years, or you want to downsize it to 13 and you lose revenue? The ball is in your court now. Honorable Minister, do you get my point?
There is a letter from Uganda Revenue Authority that makes a justification that when you have the ones of 15 years back, you make a profit of how much? 400 what?
So you might be losing about 400 or above 100 billion shillings, definitely, is what you ought to lose. Now the ball is in your court. Do you need the revenue, or we take it as it is? Thank you.
I don't know what formula the minister is talking about. Even the cars which might be producing more emission, which is bad, are trucks. But if you read here, they're saying 9 years old vehicle, excluding goods vehicle. I want him to convince me that the goods vehicle don't produce what? Emission. That's number one. Number two, anything which is 1 week on the road is what? Old. Now, if we're talking about all cars which are coming are old, even if it is one, now, what about those which are below 9 years? Are they new? We need to also to understand, what are these ones and ones which are below what? 9 years. Madam Speaker, I have my friend across there called Katesh. Recently, I saw him in a car. I asked him what type of car is that I'm looking for, and he said, you see, this is a hybrid. It has both petrol and electricity. I would suggest that if you want, let us go electricity. We have been here, we're trying to see that we bring in cars which are using batteries and whatever. Now, recently, I got motorcycles which use batteries. Unfortunately, the charge is, I must charge it myself. So if petrol stations also are supported, they have the mechanism of charging it to be very good. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say, the minister might be looking for an excuse that it is environmental. I think you are making it, you are looking for tax. Now, if you want a tax, I want to give also advice as my brother gave. One, new cars are very good, but the tax on the new cars is too high. Definitely, I drive brand new cars, but the tax on it to buy is double the cost of what? Of the car. So you're increasing a tax here, but you are not providing a solution to people who should buy new what? Cars. Secondly, if you are talking about second-hand vehicles, I think we should look at mileage. Mileage will be the best. I'll give an example. Yeah.
But in most cases, they change the mileage.
Madam Speaker, let me tell you nowadays, it is very easy. Recently, let me give an example. There are people making noise that Nandala is chasing us from the land in Napanga, which is Bujusu Cooperative Union. I put in AI. Confirm if Bujusu Cooperative Union has land. AI brought the story about the land. This was not making noise, want to grab land. He brought the land we have, and AI has come, is going to solve these problems. I want you to put in AI. Was this car adjusted? It will say yes or no. We better look about AI. Software, and we will solve this problem. So, Madam Speaker, this is just let us invest more in this thing, and we shall be safe. You will discover a car of 15 years has gone for only 200 kilometers or 1,000. You will get Nandalas, which is 3 years or 5 years old. It has driven the whole country. It is over 200, but it looks new. So these are the things we should think about. So when you want tax, let us look at now. In Uganda, we need cars. We need all Ugandans to have what? Cars. On this one, I know it is an environmental problem, but I am also going to propose, we are going to propose to reduce this tax on the cars from 0 to 9. We shall also put, because they are second hand, this one from 9 to whatever we should give, but also those above 12 or 15, you will allow them to come, give it at a rate. You say, any car above 15, this year the tax will be 100%. You don't deter by saying people should bring. That's the best way to do things. A man will say, he competes, says, I would rather not go for 100%. Let me go and look for a younger what? A younger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Covered, actually, URA. They were happy with our recommendation because it's going to generate more money. Over about 400, they estimated about 400 billion additional to what the minister anticipated. So it's a good proposal, and it's going to help. That is why you see the majority and minority report do agree that we need to focus more. If we can collect more revenue and focus more on the inspection and making sure that the cars that are in the country are roadworthy, it's much better than trying to limit people importing old cars. So I do request that the minister concedes and we proceed and go to committee stage.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have listened to the arguments brought about by the committee and our colleagues from the opposite side. I am persuaded that we maintain the status quo as it is in the current law for the purposes
Thank you.
of harmony and moving forward together.
Yes, Doctor.
Is that actually the minister was right. Older cars are known to have more emission than newer cars because there are improvements in the way the newer cars are manufactured in terms of engine technology, in terms of fuel emission efficiency, and other emission controls. But if we are looking at environmental levy, there are other accurate ways of testing actually the engine's emission. And I think that's what the ministry may explore, whether they can develop better tests for environmental emissions.
Okay, thank you. I put a question. The minister has considered, is making a statement so that we do not send it for assent, but by implication, it is still in operation. Yes?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this bill was seeking to amend the Traffic and Road Safety Act to prohibit importation of motor vehicles that are more than 13 years old from the date of manufacture. and to revise the import levy of motorcycles. Madam Speaker, from the committee's analysis and also the minority report and the debate in the House, I considered and agreed with the committee that the proposal to amend this section be dropped. What this means, it means that the whole bill has collapsed, because it was more or less a one-clause bill, and since it has collapsed, I want to beg that we don't read it for the third reading. Therefore, Madam Speaker,
The existing bill remains operational.
therefore,
The
Madam
law,
Speaker,
the
yes,
act which is there remains
yes.
operational.
Madam Speaker, you are correct. You are right. If this bill is not passed, if we don't amend, it means the existing law will remain into force.
Yes.
So, by implication, I want to beg the House that I withdraw this bill.
But the existing,
Reduces a new environmental tax on imported vehicles, a move that will inevitably increase the cost of transport and place additional financial strain on ordinary citizens. Although presented as an environmental measure, the principal consequence of the new tax will be higher vehicle prices for buyers, importers, and are certain to pass on the cost to the consumers. Although presented as an environmental measure, the principal consequence of the new tax will be higher vehicle prices for buyers, as importers are certain to pass the cost to consumers. Dealing in the markets, such as Chiseka and Nakawa, will respond by raising prices, making vehicles that were previously affordable for social workers, essential workers, and small traders unattainable. In this way, the policy imposes a hidden burden on the public, as even as it is presented in environmental reform. Such as a policy should be allowed to increase transport costs to citizens already struggling with high fuel prices and living expenses, calling it an environmental measure, risks reducing serious reform to mere justification of higher taxes. Clause 3, environmental consistency. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, sound environmental policies values the principles of reuse, repair, refurbishment, and extended product life. Many older vehicles can be properly maintained and upgraded, which is often a more responsible environmental choice than premature replacement. Mechanics, spare parts dealers, and garage workers depend on a steady market for repairable vehicles. Should the bill further restrict the import and affordability of older vehicles, it will undermine these trades and weaken the culture of repair that supports both livelihoods and sustainability. Yeah, firing tear gas in such case. Purchasing new product does not necessarily advance environmental sustainability. In many instances, it encourages waste consumerism, extending the lifespan of repairable vehicles, which is often more sustainable and economically prudent path. Clause 3. Effect on existing vehicles. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues. Although the bill does not directly impose new levies on vehicles already in use, its effects will be borne by current owners. As importing affordable used vehicles becomes more difficult and costly, replacement becomes impractical. Spare parts too are likely to become more expensive and harder to find as the market for older models contracts. A tax operator in Mukono, Wachiso, may find that replacement parts that have become prohibitively expensive. A small business owner in Jinja may be forced to postpone necessary repairs due to scarcity of parts. of the parts, spare parts. A family that would otherwise replace an aging vehicle with a modestly priced imported car may find themselves compelled to continue using a deteriorating car. These are not hypothetical concerns, but the real burdens that this policy will impose. Even in the absence of direct taxation, the law will still penalize those who rely on existing vehicles by driving costs, reducing options, and forcing prolonged use under increasing challenging conditions. Still closely, goods vehicle exemptions. Right, Honorable Speaker, the decision to exempt goods vehicles from the levy undermines the bill's environmental rationale. If vehicle age and environmental impact that are truly at issue, then there is no credible reason to exclude goods vehicles which contribute significantly to emissions and environmental strain. Trucks and lorries used for goods and construction also contribute to pollution and road wear. Their exclusion from the bill strongly suggests that the policy is driven by convenience or political considerations rather...
Anifa, can you summarize?
I'm just about to finish, Vice Honorable Speaker. This exemption creates a fundamental imbalance. Private car owners and ordinary citizens that are required to bear the cost, while commercial freight is left untouched, such as selective approach that cannot support the claim and comprehensive environmental reform. Second last, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, there is a significant concern regarding the bill true intent. While it is presented as a measure of environmental protection, its structure most closely resembles a revenue measure, raising costs of older imports, narrowing consumer choice, and increasing government collections. If the bill's purpose were genuinely environmental, Parliament would expect a comprehensive and balanced framework that would include robust emissions testing, strict inspection standards, effective enforcement against plastics, over-regulation of industrial waste and chemicals. Instead, the bill appears to target only the most convenient issue, leaving the most significant environmental challenges unaddressed. Recommendation, as I conclude, and responsible environmental stewardship. However, we cannot support a measure that is narrowly focused, that places undue burden on ordinary citizens and lacks the necessary breadth or enforcement to deliver fair and effective outcomes. We therefore recommend that the bill be amended to preserve vehicle affordability, prioritize emissions testing and roadworthiness over arbitrary age restrictions, address pressing concerns such as plastics, hazards, chemicals, and industrial waste, or support the repair and spare sectors and ensure any taxes are fair.
Thank you.
Inconsistent and transparency linked to the genuine objectives. In conclusion, in its current form, the bill risks placing undue burdens on a broad section of the Ugandan public in the name of environmental reform, while failing to address conduct or major polluters. It threatens affordability, undermines the culture of the repair, and restricts economic mobility. For these reasons, we dissent and respectively urge the House to make substantial amendments before any passage is considered. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead. Bill 2026, be covered under control. The ayes have it.